Hello, Army. Welcome back to the TAEKOOK Spotlight channel. Have you ever noticed how someone can transform from someone who has a hard time hiding their emotions to someone who is much calmer and more in control? Today, we're going to discuss a topic that has long intrigued many fans. It's not about rumors, it's not about grand theories, and it's not about conclusions that we want to force on anyone. This video will explore Jungkook's journey of emotional expression over time, specifically, how reactions that once seemed spontaneous have gradually become much more controlled with age and experience. Please note that everything discussed in this video is an interpretation based on moments that have been publicly displayed. It's not fact that has been confirmed by any party. You are certainly free to have a different opinion, and if there are any other details you've noticed, feel free to share them in the comments section. The purpose of this video isn't to convince anyone of a particular theory. Rather, it's to see how Jungkook's expressions and reactions have evolved over the years, ultimately becoming a much calmer person than he was in his early debut days. And to understand that journey, we have to go back to the beginning, to be precise, in 2013. In August 2013, when the 7th episode of Rookie King was being filmed, some fans noticed a moment they considered interesting in Jungkook's expression and body language. It all started with a very simple situation. While Jeon was serving a punishment game, Taehyung was seen grabbing his hand and pulling him closer. Jeon remained focused on the task at hand, while Taehyung appeared relaxed and treated the situation as part of a joke. However, at the same time, Jungkook's attention slowly shifted towards them. Initially, he noticed when Taehyung touched Jin's hand. After that, Taehyung held Jin's wrist, and it was at this point that some fans felt Jungkook's expression began to look more serious. His gaze shifted from Jeon to Taehyung, then back to follow their interaction. As time went on, his gaze seemed to remain focused on the unfolding situation. When Taehyung finally grabbed Jin's hand, Jungkook's focus remained on them. Even when the camera took a wider angle, he seemed to remain attentive to the interaction. Some fans interpreted this reaction as a sign that Jungkook was trying to understand a certain feeling or emotion that had spontaneously arisen. But of course, this interpretation is subjective and can be viewed differently by each person. Interestingly, all of this occurred while Taehyung himself appeared to be enjoying the atmosphere without showing anything unusual. For some fans who have followed BTS since their early days, this moment is often seen as an example of young Jungkook reacting naturally, without much filter. Then, in September 2013, during the filming of the music video for Beautiful, another moment emerged that has become a topic of discussion among fans. When the BTS members were interviewed about the filming process, they were asked if they were satisfied with the music video. Both Taehyung and Jungkook responded that they were satisfied with the final result. However, the atmosphere soon turned more interesting when Taehyung jokingly grabbed Jungkook's shoulder and gently pushed him away from the camera. The two laughed, teased each other, and interacted as usual. At first glance, it seemed like a very normal, friendly interaction. Moments later, Jungkook began to share that Taehyung had made several mistakes during filming. Hearing this, Taehyung immediately reacted and denied it with a laugh. The two continued to interact in a relaxed and joking atmosphere. Jungkook then explained that Taehyung had a scene that required him to interact with a female actress, and according to him, the scene had to be redone several times because there were some mistakes during filming. At first, the explanation sounded like a normal joke. However, when Taehyung continued to deny it in a joking tone, some fans felt that Jungkook's expression seemed a little different than before. At one point, Jungkook said, "Don't lie." The sentence may sound simple, but for some fans, the moment felt different because it appeared in the middle of an ongoing joking atmosphere. Of course, there's no way to know for sure what Jungkook was truly feeling at that moment. All we can see are the interactions shown on camera. The meaning behind them remains open to interpretation. And if we look back at various moments in the years that followed, many fans feel that the early days of their debut were a period when Jungkook still displayed his spontaneous and natural reactions. However, 2013 was just the beginning. If we look at their journey in the years that followed, there's one pattern that fans often discuss. It wasn't just one event, it wasn't just one interview, And it wasn't even one isolated moment. Rather, it was a series of small reactions that some believe form a broader picture of emotional development. What captivated many fans wasn't that Jungkook displayed any particular emotion overtly, it was that most of his reactions seemed spontaneous. Back then, Jungkook was very young. When he was happy, his expressions were clear. When he was proud, his reactions were easy to read. And when he was uncomfortable, his body language often caught the attention of fans. That's why many longtime fans say that young Jungkook was a very expressive figure. Interestingly, as he got older, the changes are starting to show. While in the early years of his debut, various emotions often emerged without much filter, a few years later, Jungkook seems to be learning to control his reactions. Expressions that were once immediately apparent slowly become more subtle. Reactions that were once spontaneous are replaced by small smiles. Gazes that once lingered for long periods seem to be averted more quickly. It's as if he's beginning to understand himself better, while also learning to manage the various feelings that arise in his life. And perhaps that's why this journey feels so compelling to so many people. Because what fans are witnessing isn't just the development of an idol's career, it's also the process of someone growing from adolescence to adulthood. Of course, no one but Jungkook truly knows what he felt during those times. We're not inside his head. We don't know what really happened behind the scenes. And we also have no right to claim that any particular interpretation is the absolute truth. All we can do is observe the moments that were shown to the public and try to understand why those moments are so ingrained in the memories of so many fans. Perhaps for some, it was just a joke. Perhaps for others, these moments have deeper meaning. And both perspectives are equally worthy of appreciation. But regardless of how we interpret these moments, one thing is quite clear. Jungkook has changed a lot. From a 16-year-old who often displayed his emotions spontaneously to a much more mature, calmer, and more self-controlled person. This journey is what makes his development so fascinating to observe. Because when someone learns to understand their emotions, they are also learning to understand themselves. And when someone begins to accept the various feelings that arise in their life, they usually become much calmer than before. If we compare Jungkook in 2013 with Jungkook today, the difference is very clear. Back then, a small moment could be immediately reflected on his face. Now, he seems much more relaxed in dealing with situations. Back then, his reactions often came without warning. Now, he seems much more comfortable in his own skin. And perhaps that's why many fans find this journey so compelling to follow. Because they are not only witnessing the growth of an idol over the years, but also the journey of someone growing before the eyes of millions. A journey full of lessons, full of changes, and full of maturation. But of course, 2013 was only the beginning of this story. There are many other moments in the following years that fans often discuss as part of Jungkook's development in expression and emotions. There are times when his reactions seem more obvious. There are times when he seems more cautious. And there are also times when everything seems much calmer than before. We will discuss all of that in the next part of this series. Because changes of this magnitude don't happen overnight. The journey to maturity takes time, experience, and a long process. And that's precisely what makes the story interesting to follow. So, what do you think? Do the moments we discussed today show the spontaneous reactions of a young Jungkook who is still learning to understand his emotions? Or was it all just a friendly interaction that was later interpreted differently by fans? Leave your opinion in the comments column, because I really want to know how you see these moments. If you enjoy discussions like this, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow ARMY friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of the series on the development of Jungkook's expressions from year to year. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video. And as usual, stay healthy, stay happy, and continue to spread love to BTS and fellow ARMY around the world.